Hey everyone, it's Brother Chris here from Divine Oracle Podcast. We're sitting right now actually in the studio with a special guest. He's a young chap, done a lot of things, have come from nowhere, and we'll be right back with him and learn more about his actually spiritual walk. Are you looking for that hard to find item, spiritual item that your loved one wants to always get, but you don't know right where to check out? Why not check us out here underneath hauntedlightpodcast.com. Underneath our store, though, we actually have tons of items from dream catchers, crystals, so many more for you. Check us out underneath hauntedlightpodcast.com. All right, so yeah, we're back from the quick commercial break. And again, those, like I told you, I'm actually sitting in with a special guest.
Yes, so it is a great pleasure to be here. My name is Tanner Bergsma. I am a multinational activist, public speaker, and author.
I know we go way back, and just beforehand, actually, I was saying about people climbing mountains, and you climbed a hill quite from the bottom of the hill, like the pits, to right where you are now. Can you sort of let our viewers know right where you used to be to right where you are now?
Absolutely. I was once homeless for a long time as a teenager growing up, and I lost my daughter when I was 19 years old, and that completely turned my life upside down. I was getting involved with alcohol and trying to completely self-destruct because I was not knowing my self-worth because I felt like a failure. And slowly, through all that, I started to work on myself and hanging around with different people. And as I started to do so, I started to gain back some of that self-confidence and self-worth that I lost over the years because I never felt like I was good enough, never felt like I was worth it. And so then, getting to where I am now, I look back and I often think, what could I have done differently? Or if I were to go back in time, would I do anything differently? And I wouldn't, because it makes and it shapes who we are as people today.
So what you deal with right now, though, is, like I was saying earlier, those human rights, but you said that there was a little bit more. Yeah. Can you sort of elaborate on and sort of go into detail with for our viewers so understand?
Absolutely. I have focused a lot on social justice as a whole, and my overall goal is to really unite the world together as one. In today's society, we are so divided based off of religion, gender, you name it, right? And so when I see the world, especially in the past few years, and it being self-destructed, I take a look and I ask why. And knowing what I went through, how can I turn that into purpose? And how can I use that as an inspirational guide to others? So what I do now is I serve with different organizations as an ambassador to be able to help, whether that be spread truth and reconciliation across Canada, helping to end extreme poverty both in Canada and across the world, and even environmental activism and being able to help promote the environment, equity and diversity, and really overall, just the ability to make people understand that we have to unite together to solve global issues, right? I look back and I remember those times in my life where I never had people supporting me to where I was doing stupid things, making mistakes, and mistakes are setbacks. They really are. They're only setbacks and temporary obstacles in your long-term journey and growth. But some people are not able to overcome that. And so what I help people find is their inner light. I was the co-founder of a global movement to help people find their inner light. And I currently try to pursue many other different opportunities. If I see council in, let's just say, a city, for instance, I've delegated in over 6 cities so far and counting, and I can tell you that in those times, I have been able to create some change and make people and make council aware, like, you have to be willing to get in touch with the people that you're making the decisions for, right? And I believe that we could become so removed as people that we don't often see each other's issues sometimes because we've wrapped up in our own trauma and our own hurts. And that's something that I used to go through. So I really help people focus on a solution and a positive mindset in terms of how we can work forward together.
Okay, all right. Now, I know I see underneath one of your videos, it's actually underneath your Instagram, which is to do with Stratford Council.
Yep.
Now, I know Stratford, though, is a, sorry for saying it, this is Stratford, Ontario, for everybody listening worldwide, and it's in Canada. Stratford, though, is more or less it's a festival city, but the thing is, the council themselves, though, are bullheaded. They only see what they want to see. How was that for you going actually forward within the Stratford Council?
Stratford Council, like all politicians, they're people. And people have different ways of being able to perceive things and certain biases that they convey, right? There are definitely a lot of challenges when we're trying to advocate for the people, because what they're trying to do is pass a 10-year housing plan without getting the public consultation. And what I am trying to make them understand is that they can't be passing a decision like that without consulting the people. A lot of times that I've noticed, there has been what feels like to me to be some obstacles in terms of understanding such information, because sometimes, as I said before, we can be so far removed from the reality of the world, and we can lose touch of what the normal person is struggling through. And that's what I think is happening. That's why we have been met with a lot of resistance. Now, having said that, there are a few councillors that are open-minded. We were successful in passing a motion unanimously to incorporate over 7 different key action points into the city's 10-year housing plan. So we did, as much as we faced those obstacles, we did have a win out of it. Going forward, it is going to be the continuous goal to be able to ensure that council, like all government, adhere to the decisions of the people.
Now, what other areas, so besides to do with housing, because I know, though, that lately, though, is actually underneath your Instagram, though, that there's so much actually on there. What are some of the ones that you're working on right now? If you're allowed to talk about it.
If I was to go into every single one of them, I'd be writing a book for generations. But one of the things that I'm working on currently in Canada is really... One of the things I'm working on is truth and reconciliation in Canada between Indigenous and non-Indigenous individuals. I'm an ambassador with an organization that helps with truth and reconciliation across Canada. And so I'm doing a lot of learning and work surrounding that. I am a part of another organization that helps with extreme poverty across the world. And so I just got accepted into this position, and I will be working with governments from all various levels to be able to help tackle extreme poverty, both in our country and around the world. I am continuously getting stories of people who are struggling, that need help. And before, I was always trying to solve their problems, because I'm a people person. That's just who I am because of what I've been through. But now, what I do is I will refer, and because I have those contacts and stuff just to be able to help them. But I say, you know what? How can I knowing your struggles. What can I do to advocate for you to be able to change this country and to change this world? At the end of the day, you know, I talk about this in my latest book, The War We Never Chose. And I talk about the fact that in order to change the world, we must begin to first change ourselves. And I never really understood that point for a long time because I always wanted to change everything.
Yeah.
Right? And so going forward, what I've done is I've taken more of an advocacy approach in multiple different areas to help people get heard in whatever capacity that may be.
Okay. So you were saying for the Indigenous reconciliation, sorry if I've slandered the word, but for the Indigenous community, compared to the non-Indigenous, sort of like with us here on the Divine Oracle podcast. What sort of boundaries have you come across, and what hurdles have you succeeded?
That's a really good question. I've had a lot of individuals as I'm beginning to listen to a lot of individuals. There's a lot of stigmatism when it comes down to even non-status and status individuals. I have seen culture that once was stripped away getting erased. What I mean by that, for example, I have a person, I won't release names, but I had a person who was going through some things in his life, and he was trying to continue to pursue his dream as an Indigenous dancer. And because he wasn't status, even though he had all the paperwork and everything, but the government didn't qualify him, they told him that he shouldn't be doing it anymore. And I think about that moment. Why is it our government that gets to decide what our people are able to do and our culture? You see, this is the thing. Stigmatism happens anywhere in this country. But for us, we have a long way to come, because what once was erased, we think we can erase it with money, make the problems go away, and then go back to our old behaviors.
Yeah.
And as a person that was once homeless, I used to make the same mistake. So I'm not perfect by all means, and I've learned by my own actions and behaviors. But I'm noticing the government repeat that behavior consecutively when it comes down to truth and reconciliation. They want to give these individuals money to say, you know, you've been paid, so, you know, you can do your own thing. Yet there's Indigenous people that are going without clean drinking water. Why is that? If they were truly sorry for what they did, why are they going without? Why are the people that they apologize to going without the basic necessities of life, which is a violation of Section 7 of the Charter, not to mention all the other legislation, if they were sorry? That is not what sorry is. And we've lost touch. We've lost touch of what it means to be human. The one thing that I can say is that as much as these negative things have come through, we have the power to change within the present moment. And it's up to us as individuals to lead that change. And so I lead by example. I am not perfect, as I said, by all means. However, I do know that truth and reconciliation is important to me. And my work that I do, I help people have a voice. For those that can't speak up for themselves, I will fight for them.
Yeah.
And that is why some political people don't like me. but that's okay. I, I'm not a type of person to just point out the problem either. And a lot of my meetings, you will always see that I always would point forward for a solution because I'm a we thinker. I'm not a me thinker. And I think that if we started doing that and looked at coming together as one and taking care of everyone instead of taking care of ourselves and our own belief systems, this world and this country would be a much different place.
Follow us here at Haunting Live, our news shows, and we are honored to have a brand new co-host on our shows now. Yolanta Mary is our co-host, and she does a lot of work for us on the side and introduces people to the show and discusses different topics on the show. So we're really happy to have her here this season. So go check out our brand new episode.
And we're back again from this cool, quick commercial break, though, that we just had. All right. So is there anything else that you want to sort of bring forward, like your book whatsoever, or other stuff that you're working on?
I'm not here to self-promote, but I will say this. If there's one message that the world needs to hear, is that unity doesn't come from the talk. Unity comes from action. Love comes from action. It's a word. It's a verb. It's not a noun. True change happens when we look within ourselves. I never understood that growing up. I was diagnosed with autism in December of 2024. It changed a lot of things for me, but it made me understand that the world will always have its perceptions of people. They'll always have perceptions of beliefs and culture. They'll always have that. But the one thing that leaders and people cannot take away from the people is their voice and their right to exist. And the only way that we can unite a world as fractured and broken as this is to be able to change ourselves and let the ripple effects change the outside. I know for me it wasn't an easy journey. I had a lot of people self-doubt me along my journey, and I'm only 22, right? And it's funny because today actually marks the exact day that my daughter passed away. 3 years now. I used to get upset a lot. But I look back now, and you know what? I feel proud of myself. Not from a perspective of what happened, but from a perspective of what I'm doing now. The word legacy, I ask people all the time, what does the word legacy mean to them? And for me, there's something called a living legacy. We have the ability to think what we want to believe to think and to act upon what we want to act upon. But either way, that creates a legacy, whether that be a good legacy or a bad legacy. And the key is to understand and realize when we put the power back from the people or from the external environment and put it back within ourselves, that is what creates change. That's the only way, or one of the only ways, that we can make this country and this world come together. There's a lot of blame that happens. There's a lot of things that are not right, that are not morally right. But at the end of the day, if we want to change the world, we got to first fix ourselves.
Okay. All right. And then how can people get in contact with you by any chance?
People can find me on Instagram, Facebook. I am verified on those platforms. I'm also on TikTok as well. I've got 11,000 followers there. And if you would like to get in touch with my team, you can email us at TANNER. So first name Tanner, last name Bergsma, Bravo Echo Romeo Golf, Sierra Mike Alpha, media@gmail.com.
And I do say, though, that even with mental health, though, right, it's awesome to see a young star seed child like you, right, be able to put actions actually into this world, right? And I do say thank you very much for being actually on today's episode, actually, of Divine Oracle Podcast.
Well, thank you.